So over the last 12 years, I've hired over 500 sales reps. I've built over 20 sales teams that have generated me and my clients somewhere north of $220 million in total revenue. And through that experience, I've been able to crack the hardest parts of building a sales team, from hiring, training, ramping, and tracking your sales team. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to hire salespeople, how to build a sales team, so that by the end of this video, you'll be able to hire the right people, build an extremely strong and trained sales team, and actually be able to predictably scale your business. But before you even think about hiring your first salesperson, you need three things in place. First, you need a proven sales process. That goes without saying. You need to know exactly what works before you can ask somebody and teach somebody else to replicate. A lot of business owners, where they fail is they hear these things on YouTube videos or, in coaching programs of, oh, I need to send cold DMs. I need to make cold calls. I do cold email. I got to run paid advertising. And they don't actually prove the acquisition customer channel and then hire for it. As business owners in scale mode, you need to have proven, predictable processes and results of what success even looks like. You need to know, if you're going to do cold calling, if I make 100 cold calls to a list of people that we have, that on average, I'm going to speak to 20 people. Of those 20 people, 5 of those people will be qualified, and of those 5, we're booking 2. And I've been able to prove that over a long enough time horizon to feel confident in hiring somebody to take over this acquisition channel inside of my business, so then I can hold this person accountable. That's also going to help you understand how to compensate that person, what success looks like, and what KPIs you need to hold this salesperson to inside of your business. As you're doing this, and as you grow a new acquisition channel inside of your business, you need to be tracking things. You need to be documenting things. You need to create SOPs. You got to create processes. You're essentially going to ask somebody to replicate you. And the only way for somebody to replicate you is if you take the things out of your brain and you put them onto paper, you put them on a video, and you're able to share this with somebody once you hire them, so that they're actually onboarding correctly inside of your business. Also, more general inside of your business, you're going to need to understand, what is your sales cycle? What is your average conversion rate, your average deal size, your lifetime value of a client, your cost to acquire a customer? These are all going to play massive factors in your ability to attract high quality sales talent, people who've been in the game and understand and have chops. When they come into your business from an interview perspective, they're going to be asking you these types of questions. On average, the person who's been in this role before, what did they see? What does success looks like? On average, if I do X, what's going to happen from a Y perspective? What is the average cash collected percentage? If I hit these KPIs, how much money am I going to make? And if you don't truly understand the economics of what you're doing as a business owner, how you're selling your product or service, and at what percentage someone else could come in and see that, you're just not going to attract the type of salespeople you want. And that's going to be a massive constraint to everything that I'm going to talk about in this video, because if salespeople don't want to work for your business, then everything that you make or build inside of this video is going to be null and void. If you don't know those things, I would highly recommend finding out, looking back, understanding your sales cycle. How many days did it take from that person opting in or responding or having their first call to them signing a contract and becoming a customer? If I look at the last 6 months of sales data, what is the average cash collected? What is the lifetime value of a client? How am I acquiring these clients? What channels are they coming from? Then you can start to understand what you have to hire for, what are going to be the core job responsibilities, and then what are we going to hold these people to from an accountability perspective. The next thing that you're going to need to have in place is an infrastructure. That's going to be your tech stack, your tools. What are you going to be able to give this person? If you're going to hire somebody to be a roofer and you don't give them a hammer, you don't give them nails, you don't give them shingles, they're going to be a pretty terrible roofer. And I see this time and time again with business owners, is they hire a 23-year-old appointment setter and they're like, oh, well, this guy's not doing good in my business. He was supposed to come in, he was supposed to write the scripts, he was supposed to set up the CRM. That doesn't make any sense. You need to have a process and a system and technology for the person to come into your business, be able to leverage the tools, the trainings, and the process to be able to replicate your same success. So you need to equip your sales team with a CRM. They need to be able to have tools. If they're making dials, you need to have a dedicated dialer. If they're going to be doing texting, you got to have a texting software. If they're going to do DMs, you got to have something like ManyChat. I would highly recommend Close.io or Go High Level for CRMs. For most businesses, HubSpot on the higher end of things. In regards to a dialer, I would use Kixi or Alloware. For texting, I would would you send blue? Only once you have all those things in line, then you can start to look at the process of hiring, which begins with understanding who to hire and going and defining your hiring profile. Without this, your hires might just be completely random people who don't align with you. They don't have the same expectations as you. They don't align from a company culture. They're not interested in the things that your prospects are interested in. They don't have any previous experience about what you're selling, who you're selling to, or how you're selling to those people. And they're just not going to work out, or the time horizon that it's going to take for this person to go from where they're at today to where you need them to be to have success doesn't make sense from the cash flow perspective of them making money and earning a living inside of your business. And it doesn't make sense for you to spend all that time and energy just to see if this person is going to be a valuable, successful hire inside of your sales organization. So here is an example job post. So you have to treat a job post just as you would your own offer. The offer that you're making to the marketplace, what it is that you do, how do you do it, risk reversals, the value, the cost, like really thinking of a job post as you would your own offer that you're doing your marketing for. Right here, right? The hook. Do you have grit, industry knowledge, and results-driven mindset? Join your company or explain your company. Who are you looking for? This is supposed to hook in the correct talent. It's supposed to attract the right people, and it is supposed to deter the wrong people because you don't want to be sorting through hundreds of resumes. You want just the ones that make sense and are excited about what you do. So what are the key responsibilities? As an appointment setter, your day-to-day activities will include X, Y, Z. The compensation, you have a base pay, you get a commission, selling a specific dollar amount offer, growth potential. Why do you want to work with us? What are the benefits of your business? What do they get? CRM tools, AI resources, timely commission payouts. Who are we looking for? So we need grit, perseverance, industry knowledge, understanding workplace culture and leadership, a track record of achieving measurable success. And then why would you choose this company? Write out a job post about your business and then go to the market with this job post as you would with your offer selling this to the marketplace. So the next thing is once you have the job post, you're also going to have to understand the compensation structure, understanding base versus commission structures. What is an OTE? OTE stands for on target earnings. So essentially, if you do the things that are outlined in this OTE package, you'll be able to earn X. If you do Y, you'll make Z. So here's an example of a calculator that we have, just a simple Excel spreadsheet here. So a base salary, I like to do base salaries for something that's doing cold outbound, where they're spending their time and energy and resources on things that aren't directly putting money in their pocket. They're prospecting, they're sending personalized emails, they're making cold calls, they're doing manual one-to-one outbound to a more predominantly cold audience. Now, if you're a business who's generating leads and interest and attention, whether that's through organic channels or paid channels, through a funnel or an opt-in or a newsletter, or you're collecting information, the company is paying money to generate contact information. And if you have enough leads coming in, then you can go without a base. That's an inbound role versus an outbound role. The thing that matters the most in doing this hundreds of times is this OTE right here. So most reps aren't going to care so much about the economics, the breakdown. This is more for you to understand and make sense from a margins perspective of what can I pay. So an appointment setter is going to want to make anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 on a monthly basis if they're based in the United States. If they're based overseas, you can get away with a little bit difference, but that's kind of the numbers that you want to get here as you're building this compensation. Also understanding what is a actual real ability for them to book meetings. Bake in your average show rate. Right here, it's 70%. Take your ticket price and the commission. So an appointment setter usually makes 5% commission. If you're selling something that's like, $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, you want to lower that percentage, obviously, right? Make it align with your margins and actually make it make sense with what they're doing in the sales process. And I'd also highly recommend a qualified showed commission. People, setters specifically, if they're doing what you ask of them and the deals aren't closing, which is outside of their control. Hey, I need you to talk to this type of person, get this information, and get them on the calendar. If they're doing that and then the closer is not doing their job, the setter should not be penalized. So this is a really good thing here to add in there to mitigate that risk, as well as it gives the setter some sort of control over their monthly earnings. For here, $50 is pretty solid, right? So if this person has 28 showed appointments times $50, they're making an extra $1,400 by just doing what's asked of them. They have a base salary, and then if they close 30% of those 28 calls, you're closing 8 deals at a $5,000 commission. That times 5%, you're gonna get $2,100. These three things factored in, this person's gonna make $5,000. If they book 2 meetings a day, every day for an entire month, 70% show up rate and a 30% close rate, you're gonna be paying $5,000 for essentially $40,000 worth of revenue. And obviously you understand like the compounding effect, those 28 meetings, some will close next month. You're really just paying them to build pipeline for you. So this is how I think of OTE. Now that you have your hiring profile clearly defined, your entire hiring process is going to have way less friction. It's going to be more streamlined and overall make what you're going to do next much, much easier. But if you've never properly hired salespeople before, I know it can be a bit of a struggle to do this just starting out, because even with a good customer profile and with the hiring framework that I'll show you in a few minutes, it can still be difficult to know if you're choosing the right person, you're making the right hire. So this is a bit of a shameless plug, but I do have to mention that if you want extra help, you want me and my team, we'll actually come in, we'll do the vetting, we'll write your job posts, we'll find the reps in our talent network, and we will actually set up the interviews so you can hire our talent network directly into your organization. We also help you build those scripts. We help you build the processes. We can actually build your CRM. We can set up zaps and automations, and that's going to run without you having to kind of build the whole things from scratch. So if you're looking for experts to come in and handle that for you or help consult you on how to do it the best way, click the first link in the description, apply, and book a call with myself or my team. All right, so let's continue building on what we're doing with creating a hiring profile and looking at the step-by-step hiring framework that you can pretty much just copy and paste. The biggest part of this that's going to make this not a headache for you is actually conceptualizing an application, just as you would with a funnel. People come in, they apply, you get specific information, and that's going to conditionally route them to either an interview or to, hey, you don't fit our profile. These are some example questions, right? So very important. Are you open for full-time, part-time? Which time zones are you working in? What relevant work-life experience and training do you have in sales that makes you a fit for this position? You know, what were you selling? How long did you sell it for? What is your familiarity with whatever industry you're in? How do you know you'll be able to take your current experience and produce results inside of this position? You actually are making these people fill this information out. I highly recommend using Typeform due to its logic and its integration. What are your goals? Your 3 best sales achievements that are KPI based. If they can't answer this, massive red flag. Who are your last 3 bosses? How would you rate them? Really understanding the psychographics of this person. What influenced your sales style? Have they invested in programs? Have they invested in mentorship? Have they read books before? When can you start? And then the most important part of this entire process here is going to be recording a Loom video. You want to see how they present themselves. You want to see how much work and practice they did understanding your business, reading your job post, actually doing the job before they get the job. And you're going to be able to actually see them and hear them. And that's going to really give you a good understanding if this person is worthy to the next stage. So what we have internally in our business, and obviously we do hundreds of placements, we have somebody that comes in and reads these applications and will manually thumbs up, thumbs down them, Marcus Aurelius style, inside of our CRM. If they get thumbs up, they get an automatic text and email with a calendar booking link to book a call with our sales manager. But highly recommend setting this up. This is a permanent asset inside of your business. You do this once, and for every single hire that you have, you can use this in perpetuity. So once you have your application screen, you're moving them on to a interview. It's gonna be 2 45-minute interviews before you make an offer for somebody. So some role-specific prep questions here. 30 minutes is my questions about you. 10 minutes is gonna be your question. You're interviewing us as much as we're interviewing you. Make sure you study our online presence. So we send this to them pre-call to see how prepared they are. Please prepare for these questions. Tell us about your sales experience philosophy. What are your career goals? Come prepared. A lot of businesses mess up hiring because they expect people to say the things they want them to say without giving them any direction or framework in how to present themselves, so you can actually standardize how you evaluate sales reps. Otherwise, it's going to be totally random. People are going to show up in different ways. You're not going to really have a baseline rubric or understanding on how to evaluate that person. Now, once you have the first one, they move on to a second one, which is going to be more for a culture outline. And these are going to have different questions. So you have a full calendar, you wake up sick, how do you handle your schedule? Tell me about a time you had to deliver some direct and challenging news. Talk about a time where you got really coached hard and you got feedback. What did you do? Did you lean into it? Did you shy away? Tell about a challenge of learning a new skill that took a lot of effort over time. How'd you go about it? The big thing here, right, is do this fast. If they pass both, you like the person, you got a good gut feeling about the person, you have a good onboarding process, playbook, you have the tech stack built, you know that you can get results out of a person if you bring in the right person, just make an offer. Don't don't dilly-dally. These people are probably interviewing at 5 to 6 different places. If you like your guy, go get your guy. Can't stress that enough. So now that you've made the hire, let's talk about what does the first 4 days, the first 90 days look like in regards to onboarding, in this scenario, an SDR, an appointment setter, cold caller, whatever it might look like. What we actually do is we build out a onboarding calendar for each rep. So they make a copy of this, and you're going to be going through this and checking the boxes with this individual. So you're going to see the first day is blocked off, right? Never hire someone on a Monday. If you're a business owner, you're busy. Mondays are always a wild card day. Things are always in flux. There's no reason to hire a person on a Monday because your calendar might not account for the proper onboarding, and that person might get the wrong expectation, right? You only have one time to make a first impression. Start them on a Tuesday. It's much easier. So you want to have an onboarding meeting. You want to have that person fill out on a new team member intake form that gets them into Slack, gets them into the email, gets them into high level, your CRM, get them in your tech stack, have them go through your playbook, watch all the videos on your company in the playbook, get them indoctrinated. For us, we do coaching calls here. You want them listening to call recordings. If it's a closer, send them call recordings of deals that closed or didn't close, follow-ups, really indoctrinate them on day one. Now, the big thing that you're gonna notice on every single day here is gonna be an end of day check-in meeting. So you have a beginning of the day kickoff call, could be 5, 10, 15 minutes, just set this tone for the day. And the big thing here is at the end of the day, you wanna check in and understand if there's any questions, any stones left unturned. You don't want them to make assumptions, and that's gonna compound in the next day. They have the wrong information, they get on the phones or saying the wrong thing, and you're like, hey man, why are you saying that? Every single day, you wanna check in with them at the end of the day. Hey, how did today go? What questions do you have? What did you learn? Like, check in every single day. You're gonna notice this person is gonna start making dials in that first week. Over time, they're really just gonna be self-sufficient. And the big part about this is stressing the onboarding and playbook that you have and you give this person, so you're able to give the person everything that they need, and then you're gonna understand, is this person good or not good in a very quick time frame? So you're not wasting months training somebody to see if this guy's gonna be a good producer in your business. You want to get them, kind of wean them off and have them actually start making dials and learn on the spot. And then you're going to be checking in with this person, doing call reviews and working with this person on a daily basis as they're ramping inside of your business. Now that the person's making calls, they've gone through their first week, they're making dials, you need to be able to track those dials. So we have an end of day format and process. At the end of every single day, every salesperson in your company is going to be doing an EOD. For a phone caller, an outbound setter, you want to know what today's date is, how many dials, how many connects the people that they actually intended to call picked up the phone. Of those connects, how many times they get them into a conversation, how many booked calls, how many sets showed from the previous day, how many of those closed, the cash collected, and then notes from every single connect. You want them to have detailed notes from every single connect. So as a business owner, you can come in and go to Slack. This should all be integrated to. Every day they submit the EOD, it goes into an EOD channel inside of Slack. And you as the offer owner, the business owner, the sales manager can come in and read every single note. And then you can then use those notes to then message in that thread saying, hey, Johnny, saw the notes on the call with Kim, send me that call recording, or why didn't this get booked, or blah, 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 blah. Then they're going to set main objectives for tomorrow. And then the overall, right? Your overall analysis of the day. And then at the end of the week on Fridays, you want them to have a win, a lesson, and help. So what was the biggest win from the week? What was the biggest thing you learned? And what was the biggest thing that I can help you with moving into the next week? So here's an example of what that looks like. So here's all the notes. This is what a good end of day should look like. After doing this for 12 years, building over 20 sales teams, being a part of a sales team myself, being a director of sales, there's been a lot of scaling mistakes that I've made. They've probably cost me multiple millions. So don't do what I did, and please learn from these. So a big thing is hiring the wrong people and keeping them around too long. So not having what we talked about here is super important. This is something that I've built over time after failure, after wrong hire, after firing the wrong person, hiring the wrong person. Your compensation structure is really going to be the key in how you find and attract talent. So if your compensation structure is a C-, you're not going to get the A+ player you want. And then you're going to be like, well, why don't I have good salespeople? It really comes down to the compensation structure. Having poor training systems, like those are the key components to hiring a successful sales rep. So with that said, let's look at the things you can do to scale your sales organization. You need to create a scalable sales organization. You need to have the predictable sales model. You need to have SDRs or setters for prospecting, outbounding, and booking calls. And you need to have closers or account executives to handle those calls, doing the follow-ups. From there, once the deal is closed, you need to have account managers for retention and growth and upselling people. So if you sold somebody on your 3K package, the account manager is going to be involved in upselling that person or renewing that person. You're also going to need someone for sales operations, somebody who's going to help clean the CRM, help make sure the EODs are set up, all the things are working. That's not a salesperson's job. And then continually adding your sales enablement tools, getting a better dialer, getting better data, having a better funnel, having a better CRM. And with that, you essentially have a blueprint to hiring and scaling a sales team, which again is one of the highest ROI activities you can do inside of your business. And throughout this video, I've referred to the trainings and playbooks that you need to be giving your sales reps if you want them to be picking up the phone and calling your prospects, which has the potential to be one of the most important things that your sales reps will do for your business in 2025. But in a video like this, I didn't want to get too into the weeds about the details of all that, which is why in the next video, which should pop up somewhere on the screen, I take you through what I learned from making over 100,000 cold calls myself. I condense that information down for you and give you a cohesive training on cold calling so that you can pretty much just give this training to one of your salespeople, send them a link to the video, get them on the phones, and have them start setting meetings on the calendar through the phones. And I'll see you over there.